All right, what's up, YouTube? Just came out here to vent a little bit. So I know a lot of you guys have probably heard about the ruling from the federal courts of Texas in the case against the NFA that was brought to them by PSA and the gun owners of America. So basically, if you're not familiar with the case or the ruling, the GOA and PSA filed a class action lawsuit. I'm actually not sure for the class action lawsuit, but they both came together to basically bring this case against the ATF and NFA, saying that it was illegal and unconstitutional for them to be applying tax stamps, for us to have to register suppressors or SBR items with the NFA or the ATF. If you're not an AR-15 owner or getting into AR-15s, this is something that you definitely should know about. It's an extremely fucking annoying process. It's something I didn't know about until I got into, the hobby. Bought my first AR-15, bought things that I shouldn't have bought for it, and I had to be told by other people, hey, listen, you can't use those. I'm just like, why? It doesn't make any sense. But to boil it down, it's just the ATF and the NFA doing a little money grab, basically able to just rip off law-abiding citizens. When these things were enforced initially, they were enforced because the government was trying to deter law-abiding citizens from having these things. They couldn't make suppressors illegal, so what they did was they made them extremely hard to get. And that's basically where we're at right now. As of right now, I have 2 suppressors. Both of them were a pain in the ass to get. It was a long process before I was able to get my hands on them. Had to, do applications on e-form, notify the ATF, notify my local authorities. It's a lot that goes into it, man, and it's really fucking annoying. It's just a fucking annoying process. My last AR pistol that I bought, that I built this one from scratch, bought all the parts, all the things that I wanted to get for it, put it together myself, and my plan was to SBR it, put a stock on it, because I told you before, when I first got my first AR-15, I bought some things that I shouldn't have bought for it. So my plan was to use a lot of the things like the stock, the vertical grip, all that thing that I bought for my original AR pistol, and put it on this new build that I was making. But just the process, it was too much. Like I'd have to go to my local FFL and to obviously do the e-forms application. I've been told that I can do the e-forms application online by myself without having to go to the FFL, which would be great because that would save me some money and time, right? But no, I still had when I went online to do the e-form stuff, I have my own account, all those things, but the eForms website looked totally different on my phone than it did on the desktop in the gun store. And I have to see if that's a phone or desktop issue, but that was something that it was just too much, man. I'm just like, listen, I went to the FFL to have them to go start the process, but then they informed me that obviously we have to fucking get things engraved, all kind of shit. And honestly, is it a big deal? No. Like, is it the end of the world? No. Is it fucking annoying? Yes. It's really annoying that you have to do all these things, especially as a law-abiding citizen, man. Like, to have guns that you don't plan on doing anything illegal with. And it feels like it feels like the law-abiding citizens and the members of the 2A community are basically being watched harder than the fucking criminals that actually are out committing crime with these weapons. Not our weapons, obviously, but yeah, like, we're getting watched more and have more rules set for us in place than the fucking criminals do, and obviously what they're doing helps nothing. It doesn't help anything. There are still people on the street that have suppressors. There are still people on the street that have SBRs. There are still people on the street that have automatic weapons, all that shit. So they're not helping anything. They haven't helped anything at all. They're just here to constantly take from law-abiding citizens. So what I will say is that I'm really happy about the ruling from the federal courts of Texas. but it's still very confusing as well for somebody who does who like, if you don't look into everything. So basically, you have to be a GOA member or have to have purchased the weapon that you're trying to put this these SBR items or the suppressor on from Palmetto State Armory. If you bought your weapon from Palmetto State Armory, it has to be the lower receiver, the serialized item, not a barrel, not a trigger. Like, you can't have just bought a handguard from PSA and say, oh, cool, I'm good, I'm covered by this ruling. No, you have to have bought the lower receiver from PSA, right? PSA. And don't even take me on that. Do your own research. You may have had to buy the full rifle from PSA or the full pistol from PSA. So, if you're not a member of GOA or you didn't purchase the pistol from PSA, then you're not covered by this ruling. You can't just go into the store and buy a suppressor and they just walk out and give it to you. That's not how it works. You still have to go through all the same process that I just explained to you. So you have to either be a current or a future member of the GOA to benefit from these rulings, which I think is pretty bullshit. Honestly, I almost wish that the DOJ would have appealed the decision, because if they would have appealed the decision, from what I hear and from what people have told me, the next step would have been to take this, for this to have gone up to the Supreme Court, to where as though we would have had, where it would have 100% got shot down. We are probably in the most pro 2A era, politically. I know a lot of people fucking probably don't agree with that, especially what happened to Alex Petty and then the response to that from the president, all that kind of stuff. But as far as being pro 2A and speaking out about pro 2A issues, I think this administration definitely has our back on that for the most part. That doesn't mean I agree with everything they do, so please, because I don't agree with most of what they do. But what I will say is that they are working hard to make sure that law-abiding citizens have the rights that we were born with, that we should have. Earlier this year, they dropped the tax stamp from $200 to $0 for suppressors. So I actually bought both of my suppressors this year, and it was after they eliminated that $200 tax stamp. Because imagine having to go and buy an $800 suppressor and then pay another $200 and then pay $80 to the freaking FFL to transfer it into your name. It's just bullcrap. So they took that away. That was a big win for people who love suppressors. So I feel as though if this would have went up to the Supreme Court, then we'd have had freedom for everyone. I think that's why they didn't appeal it. That's why the DOJ didn't appeal it. It was because they knew if this went up to the Supreme Court, then ATF and the NFA would be fucking obsolete and probably be disbanded. Disbarred, or whatever you want to call it. So I honestly, now that I'm thinking about everything, I think that may be why they didn't challenge the ruling, and it kind of sucks. So as of right now, I'm a GOA member. I was not a GOA member prior to this week. I had no idea what the fuck a GOA was, but I was informed that obviously if you were a current GOA member, then obviously you can go and buy a suppressor, none of the tax stamp, or having to register your stuff with the NFA or the ATF. So I did start my own membership, but then I was informed, actually from looking on Palmetto State Armory, that you have to be a GOA member and have bought the rifle from PSA. Then I did some more research, and there are other people saying that, hey, as long as you're a GOA member, you're okay. But if you have a Palmetto State rifle, you're not okay if you're not a GOA member. So you have to have a GOA membership, and so it's weird. So definitely do your research, because it's really not worth getting locked up over, man. It's really not worth going to prison, spending time away from your family, losing everything that you have over a piece of plastic or a stock or whatever the hell. I understand ATF sucks, government fucking sucks, but at the same time, we still have to do what we have to do to be there for our fucking families. So last thing you want to do is get locked up over a fucking piece of plastic. So make sure you're doing your research. But yeah, I just came on here to vent a little bit. I think it's a very confusing time and a very annoying situation for the majority of Americans to be in, because the majority of Americans, the majority of gun owners are not members of the GOA. They don't own guns from Palmetto State Armory. Palmetto State Armory, I fuck with Palmetto State Armory, especially some of the new stuff that they have coming out. I like using their lowers. I think that they are solid lowers. Like, people will go out and pay $400 or $500 for a Daniel Defense lower that literally just holds all the parts, and say you can go get a fucking PSA lower for like $60. It works the same way. And when you talk about barrels, uppers, all those different things, BCGs, now all those things are things I would buy from different companies. But PSA as a company, they're good for the little small budget stuff and for little things that you need for building your rifle or your pistol. And I mess with PSA for some things, but a lot of people don't mess with PSA. A lot of people don't want to purchase those things. So there are people out there, you know, that have the GOA membership. Well, and like I said, I'm still trying to figure out whether this is true in my case, because it would be great, because then I wouldn't have to worry about it. But there are people who are out here who went and bought the GOA membership, but don't have a Palmetto State Armory rifle or pistol. So now they're still in the same situation. They just gave the fucking GOA $25 for nothing. So I'm still doing my research on it as well. I suggest you guys all do the same. Stay safe out here. Pay attention to what's being said out here on the news regarding all these things, because there's a lot of new information coming out fast. A lot of new videos I'm seeing getting posted up, so I'm going to start doing some deep diving into those videos, get a little bit more information in myself as well. But stay safe out here, guys. And yeah, fuck the ATF, bro. Fuck the ATF.